Last night, we were treated to an absolute banger of probably the top two teams in baseball, the Atlanta Braves and Los Angeles Dodgers, in which the top two candidates for MVP both showed out. Ronald Acuna Jr. hit a grand slam, marking him as the only player ever to hit 30 home runs and steal 60 plus bases in one season. And then on the other side, Mookie Betts had 2 home runs to his name in a losing effort by the Dodgers. They couldn't quite make the astounding comeback. I believe they were down 8-1. They lost 8-7 with runners on base. They just came up shy. But, of course, it sparked a big argument. Who is the MVP? And we'll talk about it and talk about some things that people are not talking about with the MVP talks. So I think we will start with Mookie Betts in his case. Mookie has won an MVP before in Boston, 2018, one of the best seasons we've seen in a long time. I mean, it was ridiculous. He amounted 10.5 WAR, and he missed nearly 30 games that season. He only played at 136. And of course, to top it off, the Red Sox also won the championship. So Mookie Betts has been cemented for a while. And this season, he's been very, very good as well. He has a 7.8 FWAR to this point. He's hit 38 home runs, has a WRC+, which weights the average hitter at 100. Mookie's at 177, 77% better than the average hitter. Of course, the big thing for Mookie this year is he's split time. He's not only been an outfielder, rather he's almost split time completely down the middle. 58% of his innings have been in the outfield as a right fielder, and 42% of his innings have been split between second and shortstop, mostly second base. He has been a good defender. Always, it's difficult to find the fine line of defensive metrics between analytics and the eye test, but the analytics would prove that Mookie Betts is a above average good outfielder and a good second baseman. He's got 6 defensive runs saved. -2 outs above average. Those are both at shortstop. So all in all, very good defender, very complete player. He has 10 stolen bases, which obviously is going to pale in comparison to Ronald Acuna Jr. But using the base running runs above average statistic, he ranks at a 2.6, which just measures how good a base runner he is. It includes stuff like stolen bases, caught stealing. Mookie Betts, I think his resume speaks for itself. The Dodgers have been very good. For a time, they were behind Arizona, but that time is no more. They are 14.5 games above Arizona and comfortably sitting atop the NL West. Then you look at Ronald Acuna Jr. Much like Mookie Betts, his team has a championship, except he wasn't on the roster. He technically gets a ring, but if you go to his baseball reference page, it won't list it as his accolades. Up until this year, the biggest note with Acuna is great, but gets hurt. And he really saw that last year. He was playing through injury, and his stats reflect it. By far the worst season of his career. Just a 112 OPS plus. He amounted a 2.7 BWAR in 119 games. Not near the standard you come to expect with Ronald Acuna Jr. But this year, he is back and he is better than ever. Ronald Acuna Jr. putting up a 6.7 FWAR across 133 games played. And as we mentioned, he's the dual threat. He's power and speed combo to the max. 30 home runs, 62 stolen bases with a month to go. It would not be surprising to see him end up around the 80 mark. We talked about Mookie's base running runs above average. Well, Acuna marks at 5.6. A bit more than double what Mookie has to bring despite 52 more stolen bases. Ronald does get caught from time to time. Defensively, Acuna has lost a step compared to his younger years. It's no surprise after so many injuries that his defense is going to take a slight hit, but he's by no means bad. They have him listed as 0 defensive runs saved and -7 outs above average. Again, if you look at the eye test, I think Acuna is a pretty solid defender. You definitely notice a difference between this year Acuna and 2021 Acuna. But here we go. Let's put them right back to back. You see the differences. Mookie Betts is winning the F-War debate despite playing in 6 less games, but the Braves are 5 games better. Now, I don't think that really is going to amount to anything. It's splitting hairs. They're both number 1 teams. The Braves are just the number one team. If you look at batting, Acuna, his batting average rests 20 points easily over Mookie Betts, but the slugging percentage, you notice a big difference. 622 compared to Ronald's 574, 8 more home runs in 6 games less played, more extra base hits. That's Mookie Betts by quite a ways. WRC Plus has Mookie Betts as a 10% better hitter. Defensive metrics list Mookie Betts as a better defender. So it comes down to this. How much do you value the stolen bases? How much do you value that into the MVP debate? I think the baseball writers are going to value that quite a lot. It's been probably the second biggest story in this season, next to the pitch clock, which of course has sped up games. It's been great for rating. It's been great for attendance. Attendance is up, I believe, nearly 9 to 10% from last season. 62 stolen bases. The fact that Acuna could be looking at a 35-plus home run, 70-plus stolen base season, it is going to be very tough for Mookie to win that argument. I mean, it's just such an astounding number compared to the last couple seasons. I think the leader last year, I believe, was John Birdie. He had like 35 stolen bases. Acuna's got double that, and he is, 22 times the hitter that John Birdie is. Unfortunately, Major League Baseball does not partake in co-MVPs. I don't think that they're going to, take the easy road out and give them both half a share of that MVP trophy. Who do you think should win MVP currently as we sit? Both the teams are stellar. Both the players are putting out of this world numbers out on the stat sheet night in, night out. They're both very healthy. They've both played in over 125 games. I'll leave it at this. I do hope that baseball writers did not choose their MVP in June. We hear that very often. You probably see it with Shohei. I'm sure many baseball writers have essentially already casted their vote for Shohei Ohtani before the All-Star break, which maybe makes more sense in the American League this year than the National League. But it's not something you should do. You should never completely write off other candidates just because one right now looks very good. We'll see what September has in store, but I don't think this race could be any closer than it is right now.